Did you know there's one thing most doctors won't talk about that could hold the key to living well past 80? It's not a new drug, not a trendy diet, and definitely not something you'll see on TV commercials. It's the one thing that countless seniors who live long, vibrant lives swear by, and yet it's rarely discussed. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll not only know this secret, but you'll also learn practical ways to start using it in your life today. Spoiler alert, it's simpler than you think, and it could completely change how you live your golden years. Ready? Let's dive in. Setting the scene. Have you ever wondered what the true secret to living a long, healthy, and fulfilling life is? Is it about following a perfect diet, taking all the right vitamins, or avoiding illness? Those things help, sure, but they're not the whole story. The real key to longevity goes beyond physical health. It's something deeper, something you might not expect. Let's take a look at the world's longest living populations. Places like Okinawa, Japan, and Sardinia, Italy. These regions are often referred to as blue zones, where people regularly live past 90 and even 100 years old. And they don't just live longer, they live better. These elders are active, joyful, and deeply engaged in their communities. What's their secret? It's purpose. Yes, having a reason to get out of bed every morning could be the single most powerful factor in not just how long you live, but how well you live. In Okinawa, they call it ikigai, your reason for being. And this isn't just a feel-good idea or a cultural quirk. It's a scientifically backed concept that improves both your mental and physical health. Part 1. The power of purpose. So, why does purpose matter so much? What is it about having a reason to wake up each morning that makes such a profound difference in how we live and age? Let's start with what happens in the brain. When you have a clear sense of purpose, whether it's caring for a loved one, pursuing a passion, or helping others, it triggers the release of feel-good chemicals like dopamine and serotonin. These chemicals not only improve your mood, but also reduce stress and anxiety. And we all know that too much stress is a fast track to poor health. But it's not just about feeling good emotionally. Purpose has real, measurable effects on your body. Studies have shown that people with a strong sense of purpose are less likely to develop chronic conditions like heart disease, diabetes, and even Alzheimer's. In fact, one groundbreaking study found that seniors with a strong sense of purpose lived significantly longer than those without one. And the difference wasn't just a few months, it was years. That's right. Finding your purpose can literally add years to your life. And here's the thing. Purpose isn't about doing something monumental. It doesn't mean you have to start a business, climb a mountain, or change the world. Purpose can be as simple as finding joy in the little things, like tending a garden, caring for a pet, or helping a neighbor. It's about having something to look forward to and feeling like your life has meaning. Part 2. The science behind purpose. Let's take a closer look at the science. Researchers at the University of Michigan conducted a study on older adults and found that those with a strong sense of purpose were 44% less likely to die prematurely. Think about that for a second. 44% less likely. That's a bigger impact than almost any medication or diet out there. Why is that? Well, it turns out that purpose influences nearly every part of your body. For starters, it keeps your brain active. When you're engaged in meaningful activities, your brain forms new connections and stays sharp. This is especially important as we age because it helps protect against memory loss and cognitive decline. And then there's your heart. Purpose lowers stress, which in turn lowers blood pressure and reduces the risk of heart disease. It also encourages you to take better care of yourself, whether that means eating healthier, exercising, or staying socially connected. Purpose even boosts your immune system. Studies show that people with a strong sense of purpose have higher levels of immune-boosting cells, which help fight off illness and infections. It's like having a natural defense system powered by meaning and joy. Part 3. Real-life stories of purpose. Now, let me share a few inspiring stories that show the incredible power of purpose. Meet Maria. She's 84 years old and lives in a small village in Sardinia. Maria's purpose? Her family. Every morning, she gets up early to bake bread for her children and grandchildren. She says, it's not just bread, it's love. For Maria, the simple act of baking connects her to her family and her culture. And her doctor says she's healthier now than she was in her 60s. Then there's George, a retired mechanic from the US. After retiring, George felt lost without his daily routine. But instead of giving up, he started fixing bikes for kids in his neighborhood, free of charge. George says, these kids remind me that I still have something to give. Not only has George found joy in helping others, but his health has improved dramatically since he started this new hobby. And finally, there's Akiko from Okinawa. At 92 years old, Akiko spends her mornings tending her vegetable garden. Her ikigai? Sharing fresh produce with her neighbors. Akiko says, every plant I grow is a gift to my community. Her garden is thriving, and so is she. Part 4. How you can find your purpose. All right, let's talk about you. Maybe you're retired and wondering, what's next? The routines you've followed for decades might be behind you now. And while retirement is supposed to be a time of rest and relaxation, it can also leave you feeling like something's missing. Or maybe the kids are grown and a house feels a little quieter, sometimes too quiet. But here's the good news. Finding your purpose doesn't mean you need to reinvent the wheel. It's not about grand gestures or sudden, life-altering changes. Purpose is about doing things that bring you joy, fill your heart with meaning, and remind you that your life still has incredible value, not just for you, but for the people around you. And the truth is, finding purpose is simpler than you think. You don't have to look far. Often, it's waiting right there in front of you. Today, I'm sharing 3 simple ways you can discover or rediscover your purpose. Step 1. Revisit old passions. Let's start with something close to home. Think back to the things you used to love, but may have let go of over the years. Did you once paint beautiful landscapes? Write poetry or short stories? Play the piano, guitar, or maybe sing your heart out in a choir? Life has a way of pulling us in different directions, raising kids, working full-time, keeping the house in order, and sometimes our passions take a back seat. But retirement is your chance to put those passions back in the driver's seat. There's no expiration date on creativity. Your hands may not move as quickly as they used to, and your voice may carry a little more gravel, but those changes only add depth to your work. In fact, some of the most moving art, music, and writing comes from people who've lived rich and layered lives. Your experiences bring a unique beauty to what you create. So, dust off that old easel or find the guitar that's been sitting in the attic. Or maybe it's time to join a creative writing group or a book club. These aren't just hobbies. They're windows back to your authentic self. Revisiting old passions isn't just good for the soul. It's also good for your brain. Studies show that engaging in creative activities can improve memory, reduce stress, and even delay cognitive decline. So go ahead, pick up that paintbrush, tune that instrument, or open that blank notebook and start writing again. Step 2, volunteer and help others. Next up, helping others. One of the quickest ways to find purpose is to give it away. And what I mean by that is volunteering. Think about the joy of lending a hand to someone in need. It could be helping out at a local food bank, mentoring a young person in your community, or even knitting blankets for a hospital. You might be surprised at how fulfilling it feels to know you've made someone else's day a little brighter. But here's the bonus. When you volunteer, you're not just helping others. You're helping yourself. Studies show that seniors who volunteer regularly experience lower levels of depression, improved physical health, and even longer lifespans. Why? Because giving back gives you a sense of accomplishment and connection. Let me share a quick story about Frank. Frank is 74 and used to be a carpenter. After retiring, he felt like he'd lost his sense of direction. Then one day he saw an ad looking for volunteers to build ramps for wheelchair users. He signed up, and now, every week, Frank uses his skills to improve people's lives. Frank says, "I may not be working for a paycheck anymore, but I'm working for something even better." Seeing the smiles on people's faces when they can finally leave their house on their own terms, that's worth everything. And volunteering doesn't just have to be physical labor. Maybe you're great at storytelling and could read to kids at your local library. Or maybe you could visit a senior who feels isolated and just needs someone to talk to. Small actions can have a huge impact. So if you're looking for purpose, ask yourself, how can I help? Who could benefit from what I know, what I've experienced, or what I can give? The opportunities are endless, and the rewards are immeasurable. Step 3. Learn something new. Finally, let's talk about learning. You're never too old to learn something new. In fact, trying something you've never done before can ignite a whole new sense of purpose. Maybe it's gardening. Picture yourself growing fresh vegetables and herbs, then sharing them with friends and family. Gardening doesn't just give you something to nurture, it also gets you outdoors, moving, and soaking up that all-important vitamin D. Or how about photography? Smartphones today make it easy to start snapping pictures. You could document your travels, capture moments with your grandchildren, or even take close-up shots of nature in your own backyard. And yes, even technology can be a source of purpose. Ever wanted to learn how to use social media, Zoom, or apps that help you track your fitness? Maybe it's time to take a tech class. Staying connected to the world and your loved ones through technology is one of the most empowering skills you can develop. And learning doesn't have to be solitary. Joining a class or a group can help you build relationships with people who share your interests. From yoga to painting to birdwatching, there's a class or community for just about everything these days. Not only does learning keep your mind sharp, but it also reminds you that life is full of endless possibilities. It's never too late to try something new or discover a hidden talent you didn't even know you had. So, there you have it. 3 simple ways to find your purpose after retirement. Whether you're revisiting old passions, giving your time to help others, or diving into something completely new, the key is to stay engaged and connected to yourself, to others, and to the world around you. Your purpose doesn't have to be grand. It doesn't have to be world-changing, but it does have to mean something to you. Take a moment to think. What makes you feel alive? What fills your heart with joy and gives you a reason to wake up with excitement? The answer is already within you, just waiting to be discovered. And remember, you're never too old to live with purpose, grow with curiosity, and thrive with joy. Your golden years aren't the end of the story. They're the beginning of a new, vibrant chapter. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need a little inspiration today. And I'd love to hear from you. What's one thing you're passionate about or curious to try? Drop a comment below. Your story might inspire someone else to find their purpose too. Until next time, take care, and remember, your best days are still ahead.